Viewers, welcome. আপনারা সবাই আমন্ত্রণ জানাইলাম আজকের অ্যাক্টিভ ডিউটি অনুষ্ঠানে। আজকে আমরা এমন একজন গেস্ট লইয়ে এসে আপনারা দেখব যে এক মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়ালে কিভাবে অন্য মানুষের সাহায্য করা, কিভাবে মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়ানো আল্লাহর আদেশে মানিয়ে চলা। So he's none other than Jamal Ahmed, Global Privacy and AI Governance Consultants. Am I correct, Jamal Bhai, what I said?
You are correct.
Thank you to coming to Channel S studio first. What age did you come to England?
I was actually born here, just in outside of Manchester, in a little village called Rottenstall.
So how come Sasa Sasi came to Manchester?
My grandfather, I think he was initially brought over here to work. He used to work in one of the factories. So my mum was here because of my grandfather, and then she went to Bangladesh, got married to my father, came back.
And where are you guys from in Bangladesh?
Bishwanath.
A lot of Bishwanathis are here. Bishwanath.
There are a lot of us.
There are a lot of, very good. What age was you in Manchester up to?
I think about two, three.
Oh, so you,
very young,
you don't have much you don't have much
quickly.
memory of Manchester.
Well, my grandparents and my aunts still lived there after I moved, so I have very fond memories of there, and I go and visit them quite regularly. But the earliest memories I have is of my grandfather and my grandmother, and they...
Do you remember them still?
I do, yes.
Serious?
Yes.
Okay. So where did you come to London?
When we first moved to London, I believe we lived in Wapping.
Oh, so East London.
East London, yes.
So which school did you go?
I did most of my school in Stepney Green. So secondary school I went to Stepney Green School, and for primary school I went to...
And when was the secondary school? What age?
I graduated in 2001, so I would have started in 1996, I believe.
All right, so you didn't see much racism?
Well, no, we didn't experience any of that racism, the kind that your generation were used to facing. It was quite good for us, actually.
Okay. So life was pretty good. You had a house, you found a house, you moved in and everything else. How many siblings?
So I'm the oldest. I have 3 brothers, 1 sister. I wouldn't say life was good. We grew up very poor, below the poverty line. Like my dad tried one business venture after another. They didn't particularly work out. I had to start working in the family business from when I was in year 3. My siblings, they was helping out in the restaurant.
So Sasa was, what, professionally a doctor?
So in Bangladesh, he had a really difficult upbringing. So his father kicked him out the house when he got married a second time. So when he had a stepmother, he got kicked out. So he had to fend for himself. And I think he got adopted by somewhere he used to work. And they kind of gave him some food because he was educating his kids. And then he went through some kind of a program and got certified as a doctor. He had a pharmacy, started doing quite well up until that point. But when you hear the stories that he shares, like how he had no food, how he had no clothes, how they
Is
was
he still
abused.
alive?
He's still alive, yes. He's still
In
alive.
East London?
Yeah, in Bethnal Green.
And mum still fit and well?
They're not well. They're both very unwell, so please keep them in your doors. But they are both alive, alhamdulillah.
Right, so what age did you sort of apne kham shuru korla?
I started working, I think about 7 years old, in year 3. Yeah, about 7 years old.
In a restaurant?
Not in the restaurant. So 7 years old, we had a shop. So after school, mum would give me a tiffin, and then get into a cab, and then I'd take the food to dad, and then we'd stay in the shop till about 11 o'clock, come home, and weekends I'd spend in the shop. And then the restaurant opened when I was about 16, as I was doing my GCSEs.
When did you have your paid job?
My first paid job,
that's
outside the family business.
Yeah, all the volunteers.
I'd say my first paid job was basically when I decided... So about 16, 17, I worked in retail for Next. I did a couple of paid gigs
Oxford
there.
Street?
Oxford Street, yes. But then I would say my first paid job was probably after college. And basically I was in the restaurant and I was like, I've had enough. I don't want to get out of this.
What sort of salary was it? Those days there was no minimum wages, was it?
I don't know. It was whatever the offer was made, I took it. Whatever the offer was made, I took it.
Do you remember how much you earned first month?
I can't remember. I can remember the first professional job I got after I graduated from university. That was around £25,000.
So did you have to contribute to the family?
Yes, I've always been contributing to the family. So during that time, just before I finished university, it took me 5 years to finish university. And one of the reasons for that was during university, my dad ended up breaking his leg. And so I had to take some time out to run the family business. It eventually took me 5 years to finish, and to be honest with you, the only reason I kind of finished it was to give my mum the photo to hang in the wall. That's the thing that motivated me to finish. So I finished that, then I got the first graduate job.
Where was the restaurant?
Brick Lane, Hanbury Street.
Which one?
Cafe Raj.
Oh, Cafe Raj.
Yeah.
Oh, I seen it. Because I came to 88 in England, so I know where it was.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
So he had challenges with the business, got himself into a lot of debt, and actually it affected his mental health. He had to get sectioned, and so alhamdulillah he's a lot better now. But then he left me with, or he left the family with a lot of debt. So it's over £100,000 worth of debt that I had to kind of pay off to make sure that everyone that we'd borrowed money off got their money back.
So now all the siblings, they're all married, sort of settled, your brothers and sisters?
All my siblings are married apart from my youngest brother. Alhamdulillah, they're all doing pretty well. So the one younger than me, his name is Qazi Luhani, he's got 2 children. The one after that, he's got married, hasn't have any children yet. He graduated from Oxford University. He's now a barrister. He practices property law. And then my sister.
Let's go back to Sasi first. Yeah. What sort of, Sasi is still here, but do you remember when he was young that there were memory? Do you remember any memories with Sasi?
I have lots of very fun memories with my mum, and I
Let's
have
hear one
memories
fun one. You're the oldest boy.
I am the oldest son. I think, look, my mum's been very supportive. I remember she's the one that was teaching me how to write, how to read. So when I was about 4 years old, I had a really bad accident. I had an electric shock. And so basically, you know those old bar heaters that I used to have with the orange bars? I think there was a fault in one of them. I must have touched it, but it shocked me, and I was out basically. So I had to spend 6 months in hospital getting a couple of skin grafts, doing with that. And my mum...
So it catch fire?
Yes, yes. Like they said, if it was 2 more minutes, they would have to bury me. So alhamdulillah, Allah saved me from that. But the key thing is, during that time in hospital, my mum shares me the stories, and I remember I was terrified, and I wouldn't even let her leave my bedside for even a minute. And so having to stay with me, not even being able to go to the toilet because I'm screaming, or going to eat or have a shower and stuff. Now that I'm a father, I realize the sacrifices she made and what she had to go through during that time. And so that really resonates with me. And I recently turned 40, and I was remembering, I was sending a message to my mum when I was 40, thanking her for that time, because I think it took me 40 years to appreciate just how much of an impact my mother has had on me and all the sacrifices she has had to make for us. Because growing up, my father was always invested in the business. Like he's very focused, very disciplined, one-track mind. He's always focused on the business. And so it was our mother who was like, okay, you need to learn to read, you need to learn to write, you need to learn to pray, you need to have good values. And where I grew up in Stepney Green, it was a block of flats, right? I'm sure you've heard about the Ocean Estate, how terrible it was. So we had drug dealers downstairs. We had people who were taking drugs in front of us. The people that had money, the people that seemed to be doing well, they was either committing crime or selling drugs. And so when you grow up in that environment and your friends, your peers, your elders that you're looking at, everyone's going around graffitiing SDP, Stepney Thug Passion. Yeah. That's the kind of mindset and lifestyle that could have been the way, but it was thanks to the values that my parents instilled in me.
How about the education? How much Sasi push you to be a graduate? Because majority mum, in Bangladeshi Sileti mums, they want their children to be graduate. Did she push you to?
I would say both.
Sasa most probably wanted you to go to the business. All restaurants are Sasi food. Is it the case? Or?
Almost. So mum definitely always pushed towards the education. Dad, because of the struggles he'd been through, he wanted us to have a better life. And so he was focusing on making sure we do read books, we do write, we do all these things. But like we've discovered, he was very busy with the restaurant side. And so if there was ever an opportunity for us to go and help him out in the restaurant, like I started working when I was in 7 years old, right? It didn't actually facilitate an environment where we could have the time to focus.
Right. Let's share a story with your father, because most probably he was a very strict and a disciplined man. Do you remember any story with him? That he was late, he didn't do something, and do you remember anything?
I mean, every day is pretty much the same with him. He is who he is. He's focused on his business. That's his most important thing. And he was doing everything he could to help his family, right? He's never spent money on anything bad. He doesn't buy anything for himself. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't need anything. Even now, when we all are able to get him things, we ask him, what do you want, what do you want? He doesn't want anything. So he's a very simple man. And although he devoted his life to the business, it wasn't for him, It was for his family. He wanted us to have a better life than he had. And unfortunately, the decisions he made didn't work in his favor.
I mean, his
and we all
intention
suffered
was
as a result.
good.
Yeah, his intentions were pure. His intentions
Any memories with your daddy?
My daddy, she was one of our caregivers when my mum was around, so she's the stepmother. My original daddy, I've never met her. She
And have a
passed away.
nanny?
My nanny, yeah, my nanny passed away around 2004.
Any good memories?
I have lots of really good memories. So
Can you share one?
let me share something. I've never shared this before, actually. So when I was younger, we used to live with my extended family. And there was actually somebody who used to abuse me quite badly. And they used to abuse me to the point where they used to tell me that if I told anyone about the abuse, they would kill my parents in their sleep. And so they would get me to do things that would get me in trouble with my parents. And I couldn't tell my parents someone's making me do these things. And so my mom and dad, like, they beat me so badly to the point where my dad was like, I'm going to go and throw you in a hole one day. And all of this horrible stuff happened. But it was my nanny who actually stepped in and rescued me from that by highlighting the abuser and the abuse, and then after that stopped, and that kind of liberated me. Otherwise, my life was very miserable up until that point.
Was it in London?
It was in London. It was in London. It was somebody living with us. It was my step-uncle.
Right, let's go. So you have a very interesting life. We're going to go to a break, and after the break, we're going to continue with you, inshallah. So let's go for a break, viewers. Let's go for a break. Thank you.